had brewed his way into millions and respectability. His house was almost the largest in Zenith. Certainly it had the greatest amount of turrets, colored glass windows, and lace curtains. And he was leader among the German Americans who were supplanting the New Englanders throughout the state as controllers of finance and merchandising. He entertained German professors when they came lecturing and looking, and it was asserted that one of the genuine hand-painted pictures which he had recently brought back from Nuremberg was worth nearly $10,000. A worthy citizen, Herman, and his tart beer was admirable, but that this beef-colored burgher should have fathered anything so poised and luminous as Fran was a miracle. The sight of her made Sam Dodsworth feel clumsy as a St. Bernard looking at a white kitten. While he prophesied triumphs for the motor car, while he danced with other girls, he observed her airy dancing and her laughter. Normally he was not particularly afraid of young women, but Fran Volker seemed too fragile for his thick hands. Not till 10 did he speak to her, when a partner left her, a flushed corybant, in a chair near Sam's. "Do you remember me, Dodsworth? Years since I've seen you." "Remember? Heavens! I wondered if you were going to notice me. I used to steal the newspaper from Dad to get the news of your football heroisms. And when I was a nice young devil of 8, you once chased me out of your orchard for stealing apples." "Did I? Wouldn't dare to now. Have a next dance?" "Well, let me see. Oh, the next is with Levering Mott, and he's already ruined 3 of my 2 slippers. Yes." If he did not dance with any particular neatness, a girl knew where she was with Sam Dodsworth. He had enough strength and decision to let a young woman understand who was doing the piloting. With Fran Volker, he was inspired. He waltzed as though he was proud of his shining burden. He held her lightly enough, and, after the chaste custom of the era, his hands were gloved. But his fingertips felt a current from her body. He knew that she was the most exquisite child in the world. He knew that he was going to marry her and keep her forever in a shrine. He knew that after years of puzzled wonder about the purpose of life, he had found it. "She's like a lily. No, she's too lively. She's like a hummingbird. No, too kind of dignified. She's a flame." They sat talking by the lake at midnight. Out on the dappled water, seen through a cloud of willow leaves, the youngsters in canoes were now singing "My Old Kentucky Home." Zenith was still in the halcyon William Dean Howells days. Not yet had it become the duty of young people to be hard and brisk, and knowing about radios, jazz, and gin. Fran was a white shadow, in a lace shawl over her thin yellow dancing frock, as she drooped down on a newspaper which he had solemnly spread for her on the long grass. Sam trembled a little, and sounded very pompous, rather boyish. "I suppose you went everywhere in Europe?" "More or less. France and Spain and Austria and Switzerland and... I've seen the Matterhorn by moonlight and Santa Maria della Salute at dawn, and I've been almost frozen to death in a mistral at Avignon." "I suppose you'll be bored in Zenith." She laughed in a small, competent way. "I know so much about Europe. I'm no cook's tripper. That I know I don't know anything. All I can do in French is to order breakfast. 6 months from now, all I'll remember of Germany is the names of 19 towns, and how the Potsdamer Platz looks when you're waiting for a droschky. But you've done things. What are you doing now, by the way?" "Assistant soup at the locomotive works. But I'm going to take a big gamble and... Ever ride in an automobile?" "Oh, yes, several times, in Paris and New York." "Well, I believe that in 20 years, say by 1923 or 4, they'll be as common as buggies are now. I'm going in on a new company here, Revelation Automobile Company. I'll get less salary, but it's a swell gamble. Wonderful future. I've been working on my mechanical drawing lately, and I've got the idea that they ought to get away from imitating carriages. Make a... It sounds highbrow, but I mean what you might call a new kind of beauty for autos. Kind of long, straight lines. The Revelation boss thinks I'm crazy. What do you think?" "Oh, splendid." "And I've bought me an automobile of my own." "Oh, really?" "Let me drive you home tonight." "No, sorry. Mama is coming for me." "You've got to let me take you for a ride. Soon." "Perhaps next Sunday. We must go back to the clubhouse."